First I just want to say how excited we are to get back home and be at Ray J Saturday night under the lights, and most importantly to have fans there. That was a question for a while, all the way up until last week. I want to give Michael Kelly a lot of credit, and he and his staff and Scott Collins that works in our ticket office, a lot of credit for finding a way to make that happen, and obviously the people at Ray J doing a great job. I think they've invested over $10 million in COVID safety and health features for our fans. And so we're very fortunate, and I definitely would like to encourage our fans, our students, and anybody here in this Bay Area to come out, right? We've all been cooped up with COVID. Get an opportunity on a Saturday night to come out and watch our hometown team play. And I think it's going to be a special night. I'm looking forward to it. We still have some tickets available. So hopefully, if you haven't got your tickets, you'll reach out and be there for our first game at Ray J with fans. So I'm looking forward to that. Really like the energy and intensity. It's a little bit uncommon, right? Coming after our second loss. And, the guys probably had our best Tuesday that we've had. And that's a good sign along the way during some heavy adversity and difficult times. It's still early in the year. We're still learning how to do the little things right. We have a lot of things that we need to get corrected, offense, defense, and special teams. But the only way I know to do it is to show up every day and give your best effort and continue to work and do a little bit better than we did the week before. So I've seen that so far in our first 2 days. I have a lot of respect for Coach Houston at East Carolina. I've really been kind of following his career from afar whenever I was at Clemson, and he was at Lenore Ryan and really turned their program around. And then at the Citadel did an excellent job there, and then obviously at James Madison did an incredible job. I know he's in his second year at East Carolina and can definitely see them making progress under his leadership. Probably the thing that stands out about East Carolina is how aggressive they are on defense. They blitz about 80 to 85% of the time, and when I say blitz, they're bringing 7 and 8 guys, and it's whoever can get there first or get rid of the ball first is what it is. It's house blitz just about every snap. So their linebackers are big, strong, physical guys, so that's a matchup with our running backs and pass protection. It's a big emphasis this week, and getting rid of the ball, getting it out of our hands, and those type of things. I think their offense does a really good job of spreading you out. Their quarterback he's a savvy player. When he rolls out, you still have to cover the entire field because he'll throw it over here, he'll turn and throw it all the way to the other sideline, rolling out to his right. So it really makes you, as a defense, really have to kind of protect the different areas on the field, and it'll be a good test for us. And I'm looking forward to it. I know nobody was going to ask, so I'll go ahead and bring up the quarterback situation. It's still under evaluation. Not the ideal setup. You probably knew that. Didn't even have to drive over here to hear that. But it is what it is. Even within a disappointing outcome last week, and obviously the biggest disappointment was the interceptions. And I said on the radio earlier this week, 2 of those interceptions, really I put a lot on the wide receiver for poor technique and running to the sideline and allowing the ball to get intercepted. But the other 3 interceptions were really poor decisions. Hey, we're figuring out, just like we're figuring out who our team is and who our kickers are and who our best guys on the perimeter and all those things are. We're trying to figure out who our quarterback is. And the ideal scenario is that by now we would have somebody head and shoulders above everybody else, but 2020 has not been an ideal scenario year, so it's only fitting that we're still working through that. There's a chance that we could play multiple quarterbacks in this game, and I hope it's because the first guy's done so well, it's time to give the second guy a shot and not the other way around how it's been the last couple weeks. But those guys are competing today. Based off what I saw today, I'm not obviously giving details on that, but there's a little bit of movement just in today from where we were, how we started the day. So we still have Wednesday, we still have Thursday, and that'll be how we do it until somebody obviously takes over. And that's the ideal scenario that we're hoping to get to here pretty soon. One roster update that I want to let everybody know is one of our place kickers, Weiss. He's been battling some injuries during his career and really working hard trying to get back. And a little over a week ago, he went and met with a doctor, some specialists, and basically it was decided through everybody's counsel that just for his health and safety for the rest of his life, it would be better for him to retire from the game of football. So obviously that's disappointing and difficult for him, but give him a lot of credit. He told me he still wanted to stay around and help the team, and so now he's going to be a student coach. He's working with our defense and signaling in defensive calls during practice for us. And so that's truly being united from start to finish, even when they tell you can't play anymore. So just wanted to give that update. And we are having a kicking tryout tomorrow. I think we have 7 kickers that are in school that are coming out. And so we just want to be sure that, you know, because Kobe was working as our 3rd kicker. And again, in this day and age, you could find out 2 kickers are out on Friday and be out there with your quarterback trying to kick extra points. So we're gonna bring 1 extra kicker on. Looking forward to seeing those guys kick tomorrow. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Yeah, how well do you think your team is adjusting to the fact that the guys they practice with during the week might not be the guys that play with them Saturday?
Well, I would say this. We have so few guys practicing that they are practicing with everybody. So, like, I know what you're talking about, like maybe quarterbacks and wideouts. They are. We're really rolling.
But even like you could lose, you know, have a
Yeah.
right before the game, you lose half your offensive line.
Yes. No, that is right. And I'm not trying to be smart. I'm being very honest here. It happens in practice where guys have to get pulled out. I mean, today, Cesar Reyes has been on the scout team, and the last 3 periods, I think he was working with the first group, the last 3 periods of practice. And so he's been on the scout team for the last, 3 weeks. So the old saying, I guess, it is what it is right now. And it stinks going through it, right? As a coach, I mean, we're all used to having our first lineup, our second lineup, and not only am I a halftime psychologist, halftime coach with our players, I'm halftime psychologist, halftime coach with our coaching staff, trying to let them know, hey, it is what it is. Just keep playing. I mean, we got guys that work hard, that came here as walk-ons that normally would be on the scout team, and they're in our 2 deep. And I'm sure we're not the only people that are going through that, but we really don't take a whole lot of time, and the first 30 seconds that we find out somebody's out or after the test or whatever, we kind of sit there and go, man, that stinks. And they go like, all right, well, let's go. I mean, every day Danny DePrada walks into my office on Mondays and Wednesdays about 5:30 when we get the test results. He's like, got his depth chart. He's like, all right, what do we got? And he's just ready to start changing things up. So you just have to, got to be flexible.
The players really just understand that?
They do, yeah. And I will say that. I mean, I'm obviously very disappointed in our overall record and our start in the first 3 games. And at the end of the day, that's really what matters, right? But I will say this also, coming in, trying to build a culture, trying to change a lot of things in our locker room, I am really optimistic. 80% of what we're doing is really good. And the problem is that the 20% that we're not doing is the stuff that's on some of the stuff that's on the field. But, I mean, these guys have responded very well. And that's not normal when you have a new coaching staff coming in. There's been a lot of change. I mean, there's a lot of these guys that I'm their 3rd head coach. They got their 4th coordinator. They got their 5th position coach. I mean, it's tough on those guys. But, man, they have truly bought in. And, that's what gives me optimism in a time of adversity and difficulty, just because I know that it's going to come because of the signs the guys have shown. I mean, I've just been fortunate, right, where I've been in the past. I looked it up the other day. I couldn't believe it, that it's been since 2011 since I've been on a team that's lost 2 games in a row, 9 years. So, I mean, that's just like, wow, it's different. And but even with that, I can get up in the morning and, I get up a little earlier and a little bit more excited because it's a matter of time before it really starts clicking. And when it does, it's going to be legitimate. Like, we're going to be able to stand on that foundation and go for a little while. It's not going to be, I don't think, just one good game and then right back because of all the things. Little things like on the sidelines in the third quarter, fourth quarter, man, our defense played some good ball, right? And they got us 4 turnovers, and we just offensively had 7 possessions first to start the game, where the game was 0-0 or 7-0. We had good field position, and couldn't get a drive going, couldn't get points, and all I saw was KJ Sells and Mike Hampton coming in the offensive huddle, encouraging the guys. And just from things that I've heard from the past, that's a change. So that's something, I think even Johnny Ford pulled over and told somebody in the fourth quarter, said, hey, last year we'd be fighting right now. This is different. So, I kind of said that Bill Walsh quote a lot, winners win before they truly win, right? So there's a lot of these things that are setting themselves up. We just got to get the execution a little bit cleaner and a little bit better. But I still have a lot of optimism that we're going to have opportunity for success this week and in this season.
You guys looked like you had maybe had some trouble picking up the delayed blitz against Cincinnati, and happened to put Leo Parker in there at the end of the game for a little bit more pass pro. Can you talk about just kind of combating that a little bit?
Yeah, our backs did not block well last week. And we put Leo in at the end, just not really because of the pass pro. I think, the score kind of indicated where we were. We wanted to give him some live reps. He's been on the scout team, and he's been doing a good job on the scout team, breaking some runs and things, so he kind of got my attention. So I decided to travel him this week and wanted to get him an opportunity to play, and he ended up being our leading rusher, getting in maybe the last series or two. But, yeah, pass protection-wise, we did not do a good job. We got smaller backs, and they got to be more square. And if they're going to cut the guys, they got to get them down. And, the very first interception, we had a missed assignment from the back. He ran right by, and I got my true freshman quarterback with a 6'3", 240 coming right down his throat, and he just throws it up. We get interception. So those are learning experiences, for us, because we're going to get a heavy dose of that this week. They're going to start blitzing when they get off the bus, showing up for pregame warm-ups. And it's very, very aggressive. Probably the most aggressive blitzing team that I've faced in my coaching career.
Jeff, you touched on your scout team guys last week. Could you just kind of detail how much more they're doing these days?
Yeah. Well, I think typically your scout team, you have enough guys where your scout team can go out there in shifts. Like during a normal period, our starters may go out 5 plays and then on offense, and then our second offense goes out there 5 plays. So in a normal year, your first scout team goes out there for 5 plays, then they come off, and your second team scout team comes out for 5 plays, and you do that for a 2-hour practice. But now, we literally, today, defensively, with defensive scouts, we had 12 players. So we had 11 on the field, and we had 1 sub. And Kaylon Davis, who's our graduate assistant coach, he ended up being our 4th defensive lineman with no pads on or anything. He's a pretty big man. And so now the difference is those guys are having to go every rep. So after we go 4 plays, we'll give a little bit of a water break for those guys for 30 seconds. Then they got to go 4 more plays. And then they got to go 4, and it's all day. But that's really, I spend a lot of my time just encouraging those guys and thanking those guys. Because, in a year like this, it's very easy. You look all over the country, it's very easy to decide you don't want to play. And especially if you're a scout team guy, I think I'll just wait till next year. And that's a very selfless group. And without their help, we don't have a chance to prepare. Because if we don't have a scout team, then, we go against each other and we have to spend half the practice just being a scout for the other group, and you can't prepare. So those guys have been great for us, and they probably feel the extra brunt of the work because of the low numbers.
Hey, Jeff, regarding the quarterbacks, coaches often say that in a tight competition, the decision is based on who gives us the best chance to win. Have you known the answer to that question? Does it keep changing?
Yeah. Right now, where my mindset is, the guy that gives us the best chance to win is the guy that throws the ball the best. We got a couple, we got some guys that could do a good job, just managing the game, but we're not going to win many games. Turn on the film and watch some of the other people in our league. They're throwing for 425 yards a game, right? And, we're not going to win a lot of games 13-7 right now. So we got to have somebody that can truly stretch the field and allow us to be very aggressive in our passing attack. So right now, that's the number one factor that I'm looking for out of the quarterbacks is who can throw the ball the best for us, the most effective and most efficient in the passing game.
Jeff, why the kicker tryouts? Do you just simply not have confidence in the consistency of the guys?
You know, we need to do better at our field goal kicking, but I do. I have the same optimism. I mean, we've only got a couple opportunities there, and we haven't made it. But you may not believe me. We're probably 97.5% on all field goals during practice. I mean, it's incredible. It's as good as I've ever seen. And we're 0%, I think, in the game. I don't know if we've had 2 or 3 opportunities. But that's going to come. I really do believe. I mean, the other day, first one, left hash, 44-yard line, right out, you know, it is what it is. We got to make it. But it ain't like we had any in the middle, 25-yard line kicks or something, you know. So I feel pretty good there of where we're going to get. We just got to get a little confidence going. We'll be fine there. To me, we need a kickoff guy that can kick it out of the back of the end zone. In this age of football, pretty much everybody has a guy that can kick it out of the back and take a touchback and move on. So that's the number one thing I'm looking for out of the, if any of you walk-on tryout kickers are listening to this, I'm looking for somebody who can kick it out of the back of the end zone, number one, and then number two, who could be a potential third field goal kicker for us if we need to.
I find the polarity of your defense just kind of intriguing. You know, you're first in the country against the pass, but 67th out of 74 against the run. You know, is it maybe time to start stacking the box against the run to balance that out?
Well, sometimes you're so good against the pass because they're running the ball so well they don't need to throw it, right? And I don't think that's the case. You know, I think you know, I was really proud of how our defense handled themselves. I mean, there's the biggest thing is the third and short, right? And you know, if we're just being honest, we're not real big, right? And that you need some bigger dudes. And so yes, you do have to commit some more guys to the box. You saw we did. They throw the pump, you know. So it's not always just putting everybody up there. We've got to do a better job with our. We have maybe more quickness where maybe some other people have more strength and size. So we have to use that advantage. We have to be able to get in the gaps and get through there. But once they get their hands on us, you know, it's not a good situation. So that's where a little bit of the third and short, I think, is coming from. We've got to get a little bit more stout inside. And again, we've, you know, no excuses, but we got some other guys that have been out, and hopefully we'll get some of those guys back and be a little bit stouter. And I mean, those guys are playing their tails off now. I mean, that's all I can ask for them is to give me everything you got. And those guys are playing hard. We're just, you know, just being real. If they called a timeout and they weighed both sides of the field, you know, it's probably 300 pounds, 400 pound difference of the total in our weights right now. And so that'll be something with a full off season and nutrition and weight room and all that stuff that, you know, we missed a lot of that too, right? Just like everybody did. But, you know, I think our guys, I mean, to hold Cincinnati, who's a really good team, to 21 points on the road, I mean, we got to be able to win with that. I mean, we can't give up a touchdown to special teams. And we got to be able to score more than 21 points on offense, whoever we play. So, you know, even though it wasn't a perfect performance, our defense gave us a chance to win the game. And unfortunately, we didn't play complementary football offensively and special teams. There'll be days, I strongly believe, that our offense will be maybe playing better than our defense does, and we have to outscore some people. So every week, you just need, you know, if one group's struggling a little bit, you need the other group to you know, help them out a little bit.
From a coaching standpoint, are you counting on fans being in the stands this time to give you guys an extra boost of energy, or is it just a sharing sprinkles on?
Yeah, I'm just excited to look up there and see people, to be honest. I mean, yes, they can help. You know, I think our players, you know, before the Citadel game, I thought like, all right, I've been in there with no fans. It's like a scrimmage. But like when you're really playing a game and there's no fans, it is different. I mean, it's you can't just say it's not a big deal. So to have some fans in the stands, I think would be a little bit of normalcy for our guys, and our players are excited about that. They really are. They're excited to have some students in the stands and have our fans there. And you know, I'm excited. This is really the first opportunity that our fans are going to get to see us in person because they haven't been able to go on the road and those type of things. So hopefully we're prepared to play our best game in front of them. And you know, I want it to be an enjoyable evening for fans and people in the community to say, man, I want to go to Ray J and watch the Bulls play. And that's really, we got to do our part. It's fun when you're scoring points and they're, you know, doing all that kind of stuff. So we got to do our part. But, you know, I'm looking forward. This is the beginning, right? First game, no fans. All right, go on the road, play two good teams. Now you come home, you got some fans. Like, hopefully 2 years from now, we got full stadium. I mean, that's just kind of my mind. There's a progression, right? We're starting from the ground up. So this will be the next step in the progression.
For anyone who wants to come try out, can you give some details?
Unfortunately, there is a long list of things. We've started this process 3 weeks ago, so they had to go through COVID testing, physical testing. So come see us in the spring. Yeah, it's been a process to get there, but and it is unfortunate. I always like, even if you only have 1 or 2 spots, I always like having the tryouts because it's fun. Even if a young man doesn't make the team, to be able to tell his kids one day that, hey, I went out and tried out for the team and had a good experience, and I always had fun with that at Clemson. And our players at Clemson always stayed around to watch and cheer them on, and it was a really cool deal. So I was looking forward to that. I think we got our one practice. The walk-on tryout was supposed to be the next day or 2 days later, and so whenever we got sent home, we didn't get to have one. And then during fall camp, because everybody's at home and COVID and being careful, we couldn't have one. But now they went through the proper protocol to be able to get 7 guys cleared to come kick for us tomorrow afternoon.
So it is tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, I'll try to give you a report best I can on Thursday's Zoom, all right? It'll be good.